Adventurers, welcome back to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. This is our final episode of the year. This is it for 2021. This is your host, Tom or Robotson. I would be here alone tonight because Lotus of Doom is not here again. He's having some seasonal issues, I guess. Some dry weather and I guess a rough night last night, and he's kind of feeling under the weather. So he's not going to be here with us today. But when I say us, I mean me and some of our patrons, because it is the patron episode for December 2021. It is also the final episode of the year, and I am so excited to introduce some of our patrons joining us. We have T-Rex joining us again. T-Rex, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome back. This is exciting. Yeah. Good. And then we also have Rob the Princess joining us for the first time. Rob, welcome.
Hello. Nice to be here, finally.
Yeah, this is great. You've got this for anybody watching live or on the video version. Rob is sitting there in front of a very beautiful, what looks like a sunset at a port.
Yes, it's a background I got from the UESP website of Satanine. So
very nice.
Nice and Morrowind.
Yeah. And then we also have the villain behind glasses joining us as well. Welcome, villain.
Hello, welcome. Long time listener, finally.
Yeah, this is going to be fun, guys, because this being the final episode of the year, we will be doing a kind of a year recap. And what I want to do is I want to talk to each of you about what you did for this whole entire year in the Elder Scrolls, whether it was playing ESO or any of the other Elder Scrolls games. We know that Skyrim released the anniversary edition, and I know that I jumped back in and was playing a bunch of Skyrim over the last 2 months or so, and we'll be discussing that. But we also are going to be digging in on the second half of this episode on some of our thoughts about where things are going to go next year for ESO, because normally by this time of the year, we would have had a big announcement about what's coming next, and we only have some hints and some rumors, and we almost for those of you hanging out in the pre-show, we almost started into that already, because we are so ready to dig in to some of our speculation and some of our hopes and dreams about where this is going. So that's one of the things we were talking about. Oh, and we also just had another one of our wonderful members in here. Brad just jumped in. Brad, what's up? How you doing, buddy?
Hey there. Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad you could make it. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
This is Bribwan. Glad you could make it again, buddy. We're just starting off the show, and we're talking about how we're going to be recapping this year of Elder Scrolls, whether it's Elder Scrolls Online or Skyrim or whatever other Elder Scrolls games you were playing. So who wants to kick this off? I know T-Rex, you're kind of a veteran at this point. You've been on a number of shows. You want to talk about what you did this last year in Elder Scrolls?
Oh, I completely blew through all of the Deadlands stuff, everything in 2 days.
Wow. Wow.
I was like, this is not enough content for me. I need more.
So how did that go?
I get really impatient though.
Yeah. So when you say all of the content, like stories and everything else?
Well, I mainly do story stuff. Mm-hmm. I like to do the storylines for the most part. I occasionally I'll do the what are they, the dungeons and stuff, but not a whole lot,
right?
I mean, I did the events and stuff, but
did you hunt down the overworld, all the bosses? Did you
yeah
all that stuff too?
Oh yeah. I mean, and like I said, I always blow through the content super fast. The day Deadlands dropped, mm-hmm. I played half of it, and then the next day I finished it.
Mm-hmm. So who else totally blew through that content? Let's get a show of hands, and by hands I mean verbal hands.
Far from it. I have not even really touched it.
Wow, Rob, you haven't even touched it at all.
Did it?
I just started playing ESO in April for the first time, and so I've gotten the Cauldron dungeon, and that's it.
Oh wow. Okay. let's see. Ben of Temeria is in here too, also but just in the YouTube chat because Ben's working right now and isn't able to join us, unfortunately. Brad, you said not really? Just a little bit?
Well, I blew through Blackwood, but I'm actually still doing I got distracted with a lot of events and then like the armory upgrades and like all that kind of stuff. So I was redoing a bunch of builds. So I'm halfway through the Deadlands stuff, but I blew through Blackwood like the same as you, T-Rex. Like within 2 days of it coming out, I was done.
Wow. Yeah. So I got through Blackwood myself and then started Deadlands, and I believe I released that as an episode of the show, and then I paused because normally I try not to get too far into stuff because then I get super into the lore and all that stuff, and I want to do episodes about it. So I have to like hold off on things in order to not get too into that because I don't want to spoil things too early on the show in order to keep focus on other stuff. So I myself did not I've been holding myself back from that content. Now, Villain, did you say that you didn't get through that yet?
I've got through most of the actual story quest, just not so much on the side quests on it.
Okay. Now, back to T-Rex. T-Rex, what is your feeling about it? How do you feel that this content held up for this year of content? Both, Deadlands, Blackwood, all the entire year of like story content.
So I think it was great. I liked it a lot. It was really good content. One thing that I kind of hated about it was, what was his name?
One of the
ambitions.
One of the ambitions characters. Oh, and by the way, for anybody listening, this is a lorecast, so there will be some spoilers. Which one?
Oh,
one of the siblings?
God, no, not. It's the other guy.
The other guy. Okay, yeah, I can't remember all their names off the top of my head.
I forget what his name is right now.
Okay, so the other guy.
The huge twist with him, and he like turns at the end and like is trying to join Marin's Dagon, and I'm just like, no, I don't want him to do that.
Gotcha.
I'm like, this is not cool.
Why you gotta be a douchebag, buddy?
Yeah, for real.
Right.
I mean, like, other than that, I loved it. It was great.
Okay.
It was such a cool, it was kind of cool going back to the Deadlands after recently going back into Oblivion. The game Oblivion.
Right. Yeah.
So it was an interesting experience, and like seeing all of the same things that they had from the Oblivion game, and they like brought it into ESO. Like they had those like pillars that like shoot fireballs at you.
Right.
I'm like, that's so cool. Like they really like put a lot of detail into it, and I really thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far into spoilers because some of us haven't even finished some of the stuff. But how did the rest of you guys feel like this section of story content and even some of the zones and things? How do you feel like this stuff held up compared to previous years?
I'll go next. So I have been in the Blackwood zone, so I've got experience a lot. I just haven't touched the story at all.
Sure.
I know what I'm getting into when I'm
That's
on
my
this
bad.
call
I'm
right
sorry.
now. No, I'm totally fine if anything gets spoiled that hasn't already gotten spoiled for me. So don't worry about it. I know I'm getting into. But the zone is really cool. I've been doing like the companions quest line that they have, or they're bringing in new content, like they're opening the armory slots to make it more accessible for all these kinds of builds. The gameplay wise is really fun, and then it adds to the story, in my opinion. And it's a lot of fun. I'm loving like these little quests I do here and there, and the dungeons are really cool. I played the Cauldron one over and over. It's really fun. I just haven't gotten around to getting the story of it yet.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've gotten better at like listening to the community on ease of gameplay. So the dungeons are a little shorter, I feel like, than the last few DLC and expansion, like story dungeons. I feel like they have a little bit more fun mechanics, like more puzzly type mechanics as opposed to just the same thing over and over. I like Fargrave. I don't know if you've been to Fargrave. It is really pretty. And so I like that. That's a cool part. I feel so nostalgic when I went into my first Oblivion portal, because Oblivion was the first game I started with. And that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. And I'm glad that they're doing this. And I'm glad that they feel this way. Maybe it's just the order I played things in, because I've only started at the beginning of 2020. And so I started with Elsewhere, but then I really did like the main storyline and then Elsewhere and then Deadlands. And I need to go back and do the Thieves Guild, Dark Brotherhood, and Skyrim. But all three of those are very much like the world is ending. And so it feels a little overwhelming. It's always like, whoa, like there's this another, like I got to go fight a Daedric Prince to go fight another one. And so it's nice that they said this chapter will be more faction based and it won't be as like the world is ending apocalyptic. Because I like the storylines. I'm just, too much of that can be a little over the top.
Yeah. How many times do I have to save the world?
That's right.
Gosh.
Yeah. And by now I've saved it like 4 times. I feel like everything should be free. People should be worshiping me. Like,
right. Yeah. Yeah. And they're addressing that. And we'll talk about that on the second half of the show. This idea that like, okay, how many times have we now had to save the world where we, can't we do something a little bit more, less, apocalyptic and a little bit more personal? So, yeah. How do you guys feel about the zones? Like, especially the new zones being in like these realms of oblivion and having to talk to, like being able to talk to some of these, like the Dremora, and like living, well, not really living, but being in and around another kind of alien culture. I thought that was really cool.
I feel that they're trying to set it up for something maybe in the next or the future update that they're going to get into being able to play as one of the races. That's why they're giving so much of the emphasis on their culture and their things.
You think so? This is one of those things I've been hoping for a long time.
It's one of those things that I want.
Yeah.
It's also, they should have had a portal to Cold Harbor in Fargrave, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah. So I have to wonder about that though, because if you were able to make like a Dremora character, how do they retcon that into the original quest stories and those kinds of things, as like the Dremora who ends up being a soul shriven, and like I don't know how that works out.
I mean, Dremora have souls, right? They're just different kinds of souls.
Yeah, but why would you? What would be your motivation for saving Tamriel and like all of that? Like, it makes sense if you're one of the 9 races.
Look at Lyrinth. To spite him is really all the reason you need to spite Molag Bal.
Yeah. But I can imagine the interactions with everybody.
It's definitely different.
It's different. Like the default interactions with everyone would have to be a little bit reworked. You would expect that even just like your default conversations with people, like people wouldn't just be cheery to see you. They'd be like, everyone would be like, whoa, who are you? Like there's a little bit more going on.
The Skyrim racism volume would be turned to 11 for sure.
Right. Yeah.
It's already like at 100 though, so
and I guess Tamriel more specific. I just play in Skyrim a lot, so I'm used to their like, everyone's always a little racist in there.
Yeah, everyone's racist of somebody in this world. That's just the nature of the world.
It really is. Yeah.
But it's like it opens up a lot of other questions. Like I can see why this is something they've delayed doing, even though it seems like a really cool thing. It has to do with just the complexity of the world. It's how do you create a character like that and then make them feel lived in, when every interaction would have to be, you have to kind of second guess, like, well, everybody's going to look at you like you're a foreigner, and you're more than a foreigner of just like, a cat person walking around in a place where there's a bunch of human looking people. You're now somebody who comes from a completely different plane of existence that shouldn't just be walking around in public. That's way different. So that's just some of my thoughts on that. Well, all right. So any other thoughts on Elder Scrolls Online for the last year? Now, some of you guys are more recent to jumping into the game at all. Like Rob the Princess, like you just got started not even a year ago, back in April.
Yeah. So I've been listening to this podcast for a while, and I've been playing Skyrim for a while as well. And I was just getting my fix there. Mm-hmm. And the more I listened to this podcast, and then I started growing to other ones, Britain Uncertainty, some other Elder Scrolls related podcasts, the more I realized there is way too much content in ESO for me to not play it. It's just doing myself a disservice. I'm like, I need more. So I picked it up in April, and I've just been trying to catch up. And boy, howdy, is there a lot.
Yes. I've noticed a lot of posts lately from, I always keep an eye on, say, the Reddit posts and forum posts. And I'm always poking around, just seeing what people are commenting on. And it seems that the trend, and it's probably just this time of year, a lot of people picking up the game or getting gifted, the game and things like that. And a lot of people are saying things like, oh my God, where do I even begin? Like there's a lot of that. So yeah, did you feel like that? Like, how did you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I bought it for a specific reason. It was because I kept seeing the Dark Heart of Skyrim trailers for the previous year, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to get that. And I just like had this mindset like, oh, ESO isn't a real Elder Scrolls game because it's an MMO, and that's not the same. And I got over those preconceptions, and finally, I come around April, I finally get it. I'm like, okay, I'm going in. I'm going to play that Skyrim story because that's what I want to do. And so that's where I knew I wanted to start. But then I bought the game for two of my friends and try to get them to play. And one of them still plays with me a bit. And they were in that boat more than anything, because they're like, I just wanted to play a video game with my friends, but there's way too much here. And I'm like, no, come do the Skyrim story with me. And but it's very daunting. Like I'm halfway through the Reach storyline right now. And I haven't really. I did the base game storyline and the Fighters Guild storyline, the Skyrim storyline, and then that's it. That's not even like 25% of the game right now, I think.
Oh no. Yeah, no, yeah. You've got Morrowind, you've got heck. I mean, you have
all of the guilds.
You have the orc stuff, you have all the guilds, you have the Thieves Guild stuff, you've got the Brotherhood, Clockwork City, the Orsinium, you have all of the expansions. So Morrowind, Somerset.
I think I'm doing Orsinium next because I've heard a lot of awesome things about that, and orcs are my favorite race. So
I mean, the orc stuff is cool. You get into a bunch of the tribal stuff going on over there. You've got all the kitty stuff over in Kitty Land. You've got the stuff going on with the Argonians down in
Murkmire's good. Murkmire's underrated.
Yeah,
it was really good.
I mean, there's even stuff over in Cold Harbor. There's stuff going on over there.
Oh yeah, there's a lot in Cold Harbor.
I think I've done all the stuff in the Cold Harbor because I wanted to make sure I did the main storyline. Mm-hmm. I haven't done like this the Alliance Zone main storyline, but I have done the Cold Harbor main storyline.
Right, and then there's each of the faction zones. So there's Caldwell's silver and gold. So you're going to do your faction that you start with, but then you have all three factions. So you've got all three of those zones, like not just those zones, but all four zones that go with each of the factions.
Quite the shame, because I try to do all of these to find more time to do Elder Scrolls related things. And at the same time of doing this, I mentioned before, I joined the dev team for Sky Oblivion because I figured that would be a great way to pass my time. And then I got ESO, and now I feel so bad because I am not following up on my checkups.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot of stuff.
No. So now I'm part of the problem why it's taking so long. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a forever project. That was a project that like 7 years ago I was like, well, maybe it'll be out soon.
We need more. So
no,
you guys want to speed it up, come join.
I played the three alliance zones, Mages Guild, Fighters Guild, main storyline, the Morrowind, which including the Clockwork City, Orsinium, Murkmire. The only things I haven't done are all of Skyrim and then the Deadlands, and then Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood. And I put in 1,200 hours because I do all the zones when I do the things. But I mean, I still have 4 or 5 main, and by the time I get all those done, the next year will be out. So like it is I feel like 3 full years of gameplay.
It's a lot.
Definitely. I've been doing the same thing. I've been playing since 2016, and I still haven't finished the main half of this quest zone areas. The original, because I started before Tamriel Unlimited came out.
Yeah.
And then it was just horrible at that point in time. So, and then I came back after Somerset, and I still have not finished the original 3 zones. And I spend most of my time there, and I do the zone quests from each and every side, but I'll still go back to all the little Grathwood and stuff like that and do those things.
Yeah, man, there is so much to do. My main character has gotten through, I don't know, 80 something % of the quests, but there are still some quests that I have not finished. There's little side quests and things, but most of the main quests are done with that character. But yeah, there's always more. There's just always more.
Yeah.
And there are some dungeons I have not finished.
In Skyrim, over the years I've played, I haven't played nearly as much as a lot of people have, but it's still a lot. I have 900 hours of Skyrim, and in the last 8 months of playing ESO, I am already well over 700 hours.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've almost caught up to the years and years of Skyrim just in this 1 year of ESO. So I'm really into it.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's so cool.
And then they released the anniversary edition for Skyrim. And I'm like, man, I haven't done so much in Skyrim still. So now I'm like,
yeah,
it's like it's probably what the problem they want to have, but I feel like I can't get enough time to play the games that they're putting out, even the ones that are 10 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I have like 700 hours on PC for ESO. I started originally on PlayStation, so I've done every single thing except for the Imperial City. So I'll probably never do that, but or Cyrodiil, I'll probably never do that either. But so I've done every single thing. I haven't even looked at what my number is on the PlayStation. I'm sure it's like way higher than what I have on PC.
Oh man. We should tally up everybody's numbers someday. Just like do like a guild tally. And just see what the total number of hours are.
No, because then you realize how many days of human energy and time have been not wasted. Because I don't think it's been wasted. I enjoy playing. I think it's a role for video games.
Turned into pure joy. There you go.
But when you start getting into the years, when you start getting into years length, it's like
yeah. So, okay. So speaking of Skyrim, let's transition into that. Who picked up Anniversary Edition? So Brib did. Everybody did?
But
all of us. This is a lore cast. Of course we all do.
Villain, it keeps crashing on you?
Nope. Still can't get past your opening cutscene. I'm still stuck in that wagon.
Oh no! Wait, what platform are you on?
PC.
And have you modded it, or is it just?
Nope, just vanilla.
Oh no!
Yes, I'll try and figure something out at some point, but then I gave up and started playing Morrowind.
Oh gosh!
And that crashed on me about 3 hours into the game, and I lost my save file.
Oh no! I wonder if there's just something with your like Windows install that's just like bugging it out. Maybe or something.
Because I know
like
Morrowind does not accept my GPU. It's like no. You don't have a GPU in your computer. I'm like, but look at it. Look, no.
Your computer, which is processing this error message, does not have a GPU.
Yep.
Could be a bug in the windows or a villain behind the glass.
Yep.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, what about the rest of you guys? Have you put a lot of hours into Anniversary Edition?
I had the assumption that I wasn't going to get Anniversary Edition because I was fine enough with Legendary Edition and all the mods, and Special Edition and all the mods. I'm like, I don't need Anniversary Edition. And then I just caved in and got it anyways. And yeah, I haven't been playing it as much as ESO because that one's more daunting. But it's weird because like I don't even know where to find the new stuff. It just happens on accident. I'm like, wait, what? This wasn't here before. This must be part of Anniversary Edition.
Yeah.
And it's so impossible to keep track of like, okay, well, obviously the new stuff is over here. I don't know that. I'm just walking around until I find new stuff. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Well, you guys have probably, I mean, I know you guys have been popping in my streams, but in general, people listening, if you've been watching my streams, you've been seeing, I've been posting mod videos, but I've also been streaming Anniversary Edition, and we've been using our like random number generator and stuff to just pick a quest, and I just end up on stuff, and you know, half the time it's just something new, and I'm just like, and it's been like 6 years since I played Skyrim. It's been a long time. So sometimes I don't recognize things by name, and I don't remember specific words like names and things very well. I remember concepts very well, but like specific words and names, so I don't always remember it by name. And I'm like, this one, I guess, maybe this is familiar. I don't know. And then I end up starting it and I go, wait a minute, have I done this? And then I get like a little bit into it. And I'm like, wait, no, this is brand new. Oh, wow. This is really brand new. I don't know anything about this. I feel like Gandalf in the Mines of Moria. Like, I have no memory of this place, you know, like it's, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is absolutely brand new content. And sometimes it's like real short and it's kind of sweet. And I'm like, okay, that was cool. And then other times I'm like, wow, this is really different. This is like, and I've mentioned it a few times on stream that I'm just like, absolutely like just in love with the game again. I'm just like, man, there's a reason why this game has lasted 10 years and still sells every time they release a new update to it, because the game, like the bones of the game are just so freaking solid. It's the gameplay loop. The gameplay loop is just so good. It's just like, it's perfect. It's this perfect gameplay loop of like, you find a thing, it tells you interesting stuff. The setting is awesome. The creatures are awesome. The combat is simple. It's not overly complex, but the bones are there. And if you want to mod it into something more, you can. And, you know, and it's beautiful. Like even in the basic, you know, graphics of the game, it's beautiful for what it was 10 years ago. And you can mod it and you can make it even better if you want. Like everything you need is there. It really is amazing.
They're probably going to release it like 10 more times before we get Elder Scrolls 6.
maybe
like,
that's awfully modest. Only 10. Come on.
Okay, probably like 100 more times.
Well, you know, if we keep buying it, that's the way capitalism works. Is if you keep buying a thing, it keeps telling the company that people want to buy it, so they're going to keep putting it out, right? So it's, I mean, we're the ones to blame because we keep buying it. So
exactly, they'll stop beating that dead horse when it stops spitting out money.
Right,
or you when can't blame Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Right, you can't blame the company. That's the thing. Is that it's our fault. Like
Skyrim is Elder Scrolls 6.
No,
Skyrim 2.
There is a generation of people who do not understand that Elder Scrolls is a thing. And so and this is something that you learn as a content creator when you search like keywords, is that there are people who search for Skyrim 2. Like there are keyword phrases.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the phrase when will Skyrim 2 be released is a legitimately regularly searched phrase.
Because everyone just knows it as Skyrim, yes. Not Elder Scrolls.
Yes.
I mean,
Skyrim.
Think of the fan base before Skyrim and then the fan base after. That makes
it was 10 years ago. There are people. There are like, yes, it is like the Skyrim still gets more search volume than Elder Scrolls does.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
And I feel like the storytelling of the universe led to a game that's that good. Like, I feel like the lore being what it is, like had the foundation there to build a game that is phenomenal. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't realize I hadn't played, was it Dragonguard? Dragonguard is one of the expansions to Skyrim.
The
Dawnguard,
the vampire stuff. Yeah,
you got them mixed together.
Yeah.
Yes. And then so I hadn't realized I hadn't done that because I did like 2 or 3 playthroughs before it even came out, and I was like, I'm done.
Last one.
Oh,
and
no!
I know that I haven't done the playthrough, and then I haven't done the one with Mirac.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I feel like it's a brand new game for me, and I'm like, this is just so good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing is that like they could just keep releasing like whole entire sections, and that's what a lot of modders are doing. The whole Beyond Skyrim stuff that these mod teams are doing is they're just taking that engine and releasing entire DLC sections of content in that engine, which is good enough for now until we get Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 based on, Creation Engine 2.0. Like, heck.
Which I'm very excited about Starfield.
Oh yeah.
This year.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. I just went to Meow Wolf today. I don't know if any of you guys heard of Meow Wolf.
Meow Wolf? Wait, what is
I
it?
know that's in LA and it's in Vegas. Where?
And there's one in Denver. I live in Colorado, so there's one in Denver now. And it's like an immersive art museum, but with also a story that kind of feels like a video game. And the one in Denver is planetary based because they're all a different theme. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I feel like I'm living in what Starfield is going to be right now.
Oh, that's cool. That's
cool. Yeah, I'm in Vegas, and my friend's a bartender at it's like a grocery store theme, and it's
yes, that one's the Omega Mart or something.
Yes, Omega Mart.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway,
cool.
Very weird art stuff. It's good.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're in the middle of the show. I need to go thank you guys, our patrons, and everybody else who helps support the show. And I want you to be thinking about where you think things are going to go this next year for Elder Scrolls, especially Elder Scrolls Online. And so be thinking about that, because that's what we're going to talk about when we get back.
The skies are marked with numberless sparks, each a fire and every one a sign.
All right, this is the middle of the show where I get to thank our patrons for being so freaking awesome. And we've got some new patrons just over the last few weeks. We have Mad Ghoul and Natalie V joining the Patreon. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you to all of the patrons. And if we've done anything to help you get through your workday, your work week, your workout, or kicking out of your guests out of your house because they've been staying way too long for the holidays, and for some reason you listen to podcasts while you do that to make you feel better, then go to patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast and check out all the different tiers where you can get ad-free episodes. You can join us for future episodes of the show. You can get t-shirts. Heck, you can even get extended versions of the show where you get to listen to us talk during the pre-show or the post-show or whatever. And we also have I'm really good at talking. I do it all the time. We also have a new review that Po Boy Rich decided to leave us from the US over on the Apple Podcasts. And this one's short and sweet, says, another one, 5 stars, another great podcast by robots with zeros. I started this super late, but I drive for a living and it gets me through my workday. Well, there you go. That's simple, to the point, and absolutely why podcasts are amazing. So thank you, Po Boy. And if you want to help us out by leaving a rating or review, if you leave a 5-star review with some words, I will be reading it out on a future episode of the show. And also a reminder, if you listen on Spotify, thank you, first of all, to all 50 of you who have, or however many it is right now at this point, who have taken the time to leave us a 5-star rating on the Spotify app. All you have to do is just scroll to the top where you can see the name of the show and just look down a little bit. There's a little rating section where you can drop us a 5-star review, and that is extremely helpful. So thank you for taking the time to do that. And if you want to do that to help us out, it would mean the world. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. Thanks for being here. And if you've been one of our tier 3 patrons for the last 3 months or longer, or tier 4 patrons for the last 3 months or longer, then be aware t-shirts are heading out. I know some of them have been shipped. Some of them are printing right now, and make sure that you stick around, because every 3 months you'll be getting your new t-shirts or stickers for tier 3 and t-shirts for tier 4 and higher. So make sure you look in the mail for those. Also, I need to make sure that we call out Daniel O and Noodle Al Dente, our tier 5 Daedric Princes. So thank you to those guys as well. All right, everybody, let's move on with the rest of our show.
Yes, you're entirely brilliant. Conquering madness and all that. Blah, 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 blah.
All right, guys. Have any of you guys gotten your shirts yet?
Nope.
I'm a newbie, so I don't think I'm getting one this time around.
No, you'll be getting yours in the next few months. But Brib, you got your shirt?
Yes, and it's in the washer. Every time it's clean, I wear it.
Nice. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm so jealous of you guys get these shirts and I don't get one.
Why do you not just order yourself?
Well, because that's the point. The point is that it's just for you guys. That's the whole point. Is that like I could make it for me, but then it's not special for you. That's the point. It's like what, T-Rex, you were talking on the pre-show about like, you know, doing a white elephant and then just like bringing the gift for everybody and then taking the gift for yourself. Like that's not the point of a white elephant, right?
Right.
This is the point of this, is that these are things that are special just for you guys and only you have them. I don't even get them. So
you should just become a patron.
I could just support my own show.
Just give them the
just pay yourself.
Congratulations to thank you for the support from our new patron Obots80. So thanks so much for
you left a review too.
You left a review. Thank you, Obots80 from the United States of America. This is the best podcast ever. 5 stars. I would give this 100 stars. Awesome. Yeah. So anyway, so we're moving into a new year of Elder Scrolls Online. Normally by now we would have had some sort of announcement with some sort of hint. Usually in like the second week of December, we get like this is where things might be going. Some sort of hint, something's coming, right? And then we get some full announcement like first or second week of January, but no big hint other than they've been doing a lot of world-ending stuff with fighting Daedric princes and things last few years. And we're going to be getting something that, one, I believe Rich said something like, we're not going to know what to expect. This is going to be something that we will not expect. And two, it's going to be a much more personal story. It's not going to be, fighting off, world-ending threats. So, you guys have any thoughts on what this might be?
Maybe it's going to be something closer to, like kind of how Orsinium was. Like it wasn't world ending or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was more it was like what was going on with the leadership of the orcs and the tribes, and it was like important to those people and what was going on there.
Which is a cool concept.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very important to them.
Yeah. I have no idea otherwise.
I think it's going to be a smaller update, which is, like I said, more like in the lines of Orsinium, but it's going to be more housekeeping stuff. How they've been recently doing the sets, and they've been recently rejiggering all the abilities and crits and stuff. So I'm assuming it's going to be more focused on back of house, fixing up things versus big zones and big events.
Okay. So speaking of zones, what zone do you think it'll be focused on?
Go ahead.
I was thinking maybe it's more towards that Murkmire Black Marsh area, because we've already got that. But then again, we've just got one that's in that area. So
yeah, I mean, there are some there is part of the map down there that hasn't been filled in yet, so they could continue expanding out in that area.
Maybe that Nibonay, that closer to that Cyrodiilish, so it could be PvP involved.
Wow, like a PvP expansion year?
Yeah, like that Nibonay, which is the Nibonay region, which is part of the Cyrodiilic area. Yeah. So that could be PvP related. That'll keep those 6 people happy.
Do you think they would really devote break the trend of like a main story thing and then like a dungeon expansion and like to being like focused, like PvP focus? Or do you think it would be more of like a Cyrodiil like PvP/PvE expansion?
Because Cyrodiil itself, you can technically, there is a zone quest and there is other things to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it doesn't tend to be very popular. No,
it's just because people will.
It's notoriously unpopular.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Right.
It's like you try to do anything and you die instantly. But apart from that, it is a decent zone.
Do you think that they would? Do you think that they might revamp the zone and make a PvE without PvP version of the zone with a story set in it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like that Cyrodiilic area where they're going, those areas around Cyrodiil.
Yeah,
but keeping it as more of a PvE and maybe an optional PvP areas within it.
Right. Like you could so for example, you could move into a version of that area that has no PvP happening while you're in it. Like an instance, like you could choose to do Cyrodiil PvP/PvE, or you could choose to do Cyrodiil story mode where you don't worry about the PvP happening at all.
I mean, that would be amazing.
God, that'd be so nice.
And
it would be nice, but unless they do like a personal story, like. But yeah, the story is already, because the story is already there in Cyrodiil of it like being the like Molag Bal's taking over the Imperial City, and everyone's kind of fighting for themselves with the three banners war. So it'd be kind of a rehashing of quests that they've already done.
But what if it was like Cyrodiil after that, like, or in and around those events happening with specific people just using part of that zone, plus like so much of the time they start with a zone that you are familiar with, or a new zone that shows up, but then it takes you somewhere else. Like, here's part of Skyrim, but then now we're in Blackreach, or here's part of Somerset, but now we're in Artaeum, or you know what I'm saying? Like they take you they start with something familiar and then they take you somewhere not familiar. So like here's Nibene. Here's like a section of Cyrodiil where some of that PvP stuff happens. And now we're going to implant some NPCs and some buildings and things in that area. And it's kind of like a sectioned off version of that midsection, but now also other stuff.
They could take like one of the Tharn characters, for example, that we've already had experience with and we already know, and then just bring up like a subzone in the Nibene area and say, okay, here's more stuff going on with this character. Like you said, like take a character thing that we're already familiar with. We know Abner Tharn or Clivia Tharn or any of the Tharns, and then say, okay, here's some other stuff going on with them over here.
Mm-hmm.
That could happen. I think that I agree with the villain behind glasses in that it's going to be more back of house. I think like they've had a lot of popularity with like the armory set and like just enhancing ease of gameplay. I think that it's most likely to be like in the Colovian Highlands, like just west of Cyrodiil. There's still a gap there, and there's not like a lot of major storylines there. And if they're trying to like build hype for ES6, that's supposedly where it's at, is going to be like in the High Rock area. Like I know that's not quite the same area. I think that's where it'll be. I don't know what the storyline would be. I also think it would be really cool because there's still like the little peninsula east of Vardenfell that they haven't shown. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be cool if they did something there, and then like you said, Tom, like that's what we're familiar with, and they port us to a little bit of Akavir, and they bring in some of the Akavir like invasion and storyline there, because none of the Elder Scrolls games have done that.
That's true. That's true.
Cool if they would do that.
Yeah, and we are in the second era, and we are just post a time where Akaviri were, influential in the government, and they've just been kind of removed and all of that. We even have like, Akaviri armor sets and those kinds of things still floating around in the world. That's an interesting point. A lot of the rumor online has been around the two cultures that haven't been figured in any of the expansions or like main story plots yet, which is the Bosmer. Although the Bosmer have been in, like, there are Bosmeri zones, but the Bosmer themselves, the culture of the Bosmer has not been featured prominently. And one of the thoughts around that is Teldrassil, the city. What is the name of the city that wanders around and has disappeared?
Falanisti.
The Falanisti, yes.
You were thinking of WoW.
I was thinking of WoW. I'm blending the lore. This is not the first time I've done it.
A minor quest on Falanisti?
I don't remember.
There's like a tiny
There's
one.
a reference to it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like they don't go like into
Falanisti.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different one. It was some where like the village appears every 100 years or something like that, and you have to help pick the new elder or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but something like that.
I remember them saying that they are going to be focusing on a I can't remember. It was like one of the only few things that's been said about what's to come. And they said they're going to get some lore on one of the cultures that doesn't have a lot about them right now, which is why people are thinking the Bosmer. I have been thinking either the Imperials or the Red Guards. So I'm thinking either Nibene area or one of the open zones in the Hammerfell area.
Yeah, like right under Alakir is wide open.
Yes.
That whole stretch all the way to Cyrodiil is open.
Right. See, that could be the other thing is we could do something like that because we haven't really gotten a lot of Red Guard stuff.
Bosmer though, that's it. I guess it's possible. I feel like we have a lot of stuff with like the Wilder King and a lot of those Valenwood zones. We have a lot there, but I guess there's room for more for sure. I didn't really think about that.
We haven't seen the Wild Hunt, have we?
No, we haven't seen a Wild Hunt happen.
This is a game rated for kids, though. So
yeah, but it could have a lot of that stuff.
I think it leans more towards mature.
Have you been to Mekmai with the amount of adult humor jokes?
I mean, there's stuff in the game, and there's definitely violence and things in the game, and there's definitely a lot of reference. A lot of like the darker stuff happens like off screen, but you could definitely play things out and show up in locations as after the Wild Hunt has like ravaged it, you know, and come across and been like, oh my God, what happened here? And that could totally play into stuff. The other thing that I keep waiting for, because this has happened in WoW before, this has happened in other MMOs, is them revamping zones that already exist. Or doing instance versions of zones, like I mentioned with Cyrodiil, that show up for a storyline at a later point in the storyline. So taking a zone that you play through in an earlier version and you play through in an earlier story part of the quest, and then going and visiting it at a later point in the quest line and it looking different. So
have they actually gone back and redid any existing zones? I'm new, so I don't know. I don't think that's something they have the capabilities of doing.
I mean, they could. They just have to like instance it and allow you to travel to exactly that. I mean, they could take all the geometry from that section of the map and then replace all the NPCs and re-texture certain things, or take a house and you have like a built-up house and then just break it down and have now a broken house, right? Like,
are you saying like depending on the part of the storyline you're in, it's going to look different, or that they're just going to permanently change this for everyone?
I think the way you would want to do it is you would be able to travel to both versions of the thing depending on which storyline you were doing in the moment, if that makes sense.
Because I do remember, I don't know if it came straight from Rich Lambert or if it was another source, but I do remember them saying like early on they did try to do things like that, and there was like very minor quests where that is there, and they said they don't like that because it kind of discourages team playability, where if someone's already done that quest, they can't help you through that quest anymore because it doesn't look that way for them.
Right.
And so since then they don't want to do that anymore. Right.
So but I'm not saying break things down while you're currently in the same zone together. I'm saying take the entire zone and make a second version of the zone.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying, like, if you're in, just pick a zone. Let's just call it Zone A. If you're in Zone A, right? If you and I are running around Zone A and we are doing the original quest line in Zone A because we are part of the Aldmeri Dominion. We start in the Aldmeri Dominion and we haven't played through that series of quests yet. That's what we're doing, and we are at that part of the phase of the quests, right? But once we've completed that version of the quest line, we can now travel to that version of the world, or we can do this expansion part of the game where we travel to that version of the world a year later, and we're traveling to A part B, which is that version of the world a year later. And we are now questing in that version of the world. And it would basically be like traveling to a completely different zone. It's not actually the same place.
They could do something fun with that and have it be like some Akatosh Dragon Break thing where you literally are time traveling to okay, here's a time period where this town is in ruin, and here's the time period where the town's fine. Which one do you want to go to? That could be really cool.
Yeah, and even in the original storyline stuff, they do these whole memory things where you travel back in time through people's memories, or like they do all sorts of stuff like that all the time.
The Murkmire quest is like built on this, where you're traveling back in, and you're actually it's kind of old, so there's a little spoiler, but you're like basically with the Aelids, like you are fighting against them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So why not move forward in time a little bit and be like dealing with things in a slightly different period of time, but
how much leeway do they have from a lore standpoint to move forward?
I'm thinking you only move forward like I'm thinking you move forward just like a year, like you're not jumping like 300 years into the future. You're jumping like a year, and it's still during the conflict. It's still a little bit further down the road, but it's and heck, they've already gotten the magic guys that had to deal with time. The Psijic Order. Like, what if the Psijic Order is involved? And what if the Psijic Order is going like, hey, we know we're not supposed to be messing around with this stuff, but we know that there's dark stuff coming a year from now. We've got to do something about it now, because spoiler alert, you're not going to be here in a year, but we need your help. Why don't we just go through this portal to a year ago, a year from now version of this world where you no longer exist, and we can actually use your help.
I think it would be interesting if they completely just like ended the war.
Yeah.
Like, what if they did that? I mean, that's something nobody would expect. Like, it's just like done, over.
Because it would upset the 3% of players that actually do play PvP.
But I mean, they can like still keep that like off to the side over there.
But they could do the same kind of thing though. Like, what if they travel to a version of Cyrodiil that is like a year or 5 years or 10 years in the future when the war has ended?
That would be cool if they ended the war and revamped.
Correlate with the end of the Second Era. And Tiber Septim taking over, because it's 283 in the timeline.
Yeah, it's
and
very
Tiber
close.
Septim does it in
you would just be running away from Numidium the whole time.
93 or 97 or something weird like that.
Right, like they that could be super monumental. What if we actually see the coming of Tiber Septim?
That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting if they incorporate that with redoing PvP. Like if they did it in the war, because I think that would be a way for them to reinvigorate PvP. Maybe I personally love PvP, but I don't play all the time. And when you do play it, there are only like 3% of people, and that's all they do. And it kind of gets old because it's like they're running the raids all the time, and they know exactly what they're doing, and it feels like a different game. It would be kind of cool if they revamped it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot you could do. I'm sure these are all things that have like. I'm sure they sit down every year and they have like okay, let's throw everything up on the wall and we're gonna see what sticks. And I'm sure there are things that have like the same guys probably brought the same idea like 7 or 8 years in a row and be like, what about this idea again? And they're like,
I don't know if it would really work if you'd be able to go when the war ends though, because when the war ends, there's not really anything that anyone can do except Tiber Septim. He's the only one who has power that matters, as far as I know, lore-wise, because he gets the power of Numidium, and he literally crushes civilizations over and over. And he's like a Christopher Columbus wet dream. He just he just terrorizes everything and rules everything. And so it wouldn't really be very good gameplay from a player perspective. From a PvP just like, oh god, there's a giant robot killing everything.
Right. That's true. And unless it was like incremental, unless there were like there could be more to the story than that. Like what about the armies that are mounting before the Numidium takes the field, and like the idea of like like when we need to like the forces that are mounting against him.
By the way, for anyone who was really excited what happens after the war,
right,
doesn't work out too well for the high elves.
right, yeah. There's a reason why the elves don't like Tiber Septim.
Maybe it's a precursor to him taking into power, sort of like a quest line on how of getting him into power in that sort of a sense.
That would be cool.
Yeah, there is a lot of foggy stuff around who he is and how he actually came into power. And they would have to solidify a lot of those things. And I'm sure that they would have to get a lot of approval from, people like Todd and some of the original.
That's a good point, team. Though. Like, he should be around by now, right? We have never seen him.
He's, I'm somewhere. Maybe.
He should be alive and like a presence.
He's probably one of those kids running around in the cities that you run across.
Unless I don't know if maybe we're wrong or if this is like supposed to be like 50 years before he takes over or something. But I thought this was like,
what are the actual dates? Tiber, Septim.
I'm sure there's a lot of dates that don't match up with that, considering all that. But yeah, it's kind of weird that he's supposed to be such a large presence at this time of the world, and we've never met the guy.
He should be alive because he was born in 828, and we're in 82.
Yeah,
280.
828 is when he was born.
828.
Yeah.
Oh, 828 in the second era. Why are we in 250? Yeah. Isn't ESO in like 258 or something like that?
Yeah, ESO date. Let's just double check.
I'm sure it's like progressed at least a little bit.
No, we're at 582. This is
582.
Yeah, he's 300 years later.
So he's 300 years away.
Yeah, he's 300 years away.
I just feel like ESO is such a good opportunity because the pace at which they make the mainline games are so slow that we have so many places we've never gone. Even like in ESO, that's why I'm like, I just like want to see Akavir and I want to see Atmora and I want to see like, there's so many places, and ESO is the perfect playground to do that without like killing off the Dwemer and like doing these like huge lore things that Bethesda would probably have to sign off on, and they might not want to.
That's why I'm like, already happened, so we don't have to change the world history.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I just want to see these other. I think that's part of the fun of ESO is like you get an introduction to so much of the lore that we love, or like the geographical setting of it, or the cities, and that's why I wouldn't. I mean, a refresh of some of these places would be interesting, especially with their story writing capabilities. But I do want to see more geographical areas that we haven't ever seen before.
Yeah,
I know. Ben of Temeria put it in chat earlier. He mentioned he wants to see Fort Dawnguard, and that is something I've been asking for a long time. I know for a fact we're not getting it this year. We're not going to get it next year, but hey, maybe like 5 or 6 years from now, because it's there's a little tiny section right next to the Rift Zone, next to Riften, that hasn't been used. And it's just this little line on the Skyrim area that it hasn't been made yet. And that's exactly where the Dayspring Canyon is, aka Fort Dawnguard. So I know for a fact we're going to get it. I just want it now.
Well, there's that whole other section of Skyrim, Whiterun, like that.
Fort Dawnguard was created to protect the Jarl and Riften's son, who became a vampire sometime in the Second Era, is what they say. And guess what? This is sometime in the Second Era.
Yeah.
So I'm almost certain we're going to get it. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon because we've already gotten tons of Skyrim content. But I want to see Fort Dawnguard. I want to see Whiterun and Dawnstar and Winterhold. The College of Winterhold would be so cool to see before the waves took it away.
You could do that with Atmora. That would be cool.
So we're getting close to the end of the show. How about we go around and you have one, I want to hear one absolutely bonkers prediction for what we're going to get. Something possible, but just like totally out there. Like it could be like your deepest hope, but something that you totally think could happen, but it's kind of bonkers. Before we head out, what do you think?
I'll go first.
Go for it, T-Rex.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the Three Banners War. So I think what could happen is we get to see the end, but in a way, Beans, stop it.
Beans the cat.
But in a way, like they did the Cadwell's like gold and silver and gold thing, where you get to see it from each faction's perspective, and you get to see each of the leaders either, well, probably die. But
okay.
I think that would be really interesting.
All right.
And really kind of out there because, like, I mean, at some point, I feel like it's got to end, right? And we all know that, you know, the Aldmeri Dominion, and they don't it's still around, but like their leaders are gonna die. Like it's gonna happen.
Oh no, you're gonna get some angry mail from that.
I mean, eventually it will.
Yeah, eventually. All right. Well, I wonder if any of us are right, we're gonna have to give somebody, like, I don't know, magic internet points for this. Okay, so that's yours. Who wants to go next? Anybody? Bonkers predictions? Villain?
Rob? Villain, go.
I'll go for it.
Rob? Go for it, Rob.
Okay, sure. Mine's somewhere between a realistic prediction and a bonkers prediction. So somewhere in the middle, I think, because I think it's going to be somewhere in Hammerfell. I think that's a realistic expectation. But I think we're going to get some sword singing stuff because Saisahan talks about how he wants to save what's left of the sword singing art and whatnot. So I think we're going to get a lot more lore about that. But I think we're going to see the absolute end of sword singing because, as far as we know, in like the fourth era, it's just not around at all. Maybe it is, but we don't have enough information. So I think we're going to see some information like Saisahan discovering what's left of the sword singing, and then something catastrophic is going to happen, and we're going to lose it all.
Some like a Yukuden kind of remnants of their history, that kind of thing.
We're going to find what the last bits of the Yukuden art that they're trying so hard to save, and then we're going to lose it.
Sounds cool. Okay. Interesting. All right. Brad, villain.
I'd like to see if they would, you know, like how we've got the lycanthropy and vampirism. I'd like to get more something along those lines. You know, if you die and you happen to be infected with a particular thing, you end up respawning as you normally would, but as a zombie, and then you've got to go to Arcade and then get that cleared. It sounds very annoying, but it does add to, you know, it would be something that could happen from a lore standpoint.
Like ghoul thing.
If you go down to, like, there's quite a few places in Northern Elsewhere where you're fighting against ghouls that are infected with the Nahatin flu. And if you do get attacked by them and you do take enough particular amount of damage or die to them, you do contract the Nahatin flu, and you have a set amount of time where you're slowly losing health, and you've got to go to the priest of Arcade or get medicines or something to cure your ailments.
This feels like it's too real world right now.
Like it's built off of a real story.
You have to go get it. You have to go get a vaccine.
Inspired by the real world. Inspired by a true story.
These are good ideas. That's a good idea, though. A third line.
It would add a lot of realism to the game, though.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It would be groundbreaking because, like, we've had vampire and we've had werewolves for a few games, but to add like a third option would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I like all these, and I think they're probably all relatively realistic. I'm going to go way out there, and I'm going to say they're going to announce ESO 2.
Oh.
It's going to be a different timeline, but it'll be that they can revamp PvP. They can revamp a lot of the things and get people back. It'll kind of be another way to fight off New World. That's my bonkers prediction.
When do you think it'll be set? What's the setting?
I think it would be probably closer because of Skyrim. It'll be closer to the fourth era.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because we don't
after
know anything.
Skyrim?
I don't know if it'd be after, but it could be shortly before, but we don't know anything about the world. I mean, all the games are early third era, early to mid third era.
200 years happens between.
Yeah. So I think it'd be around that time.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
I mean, they did just announce that they're like revamping the server and all that kind of stuff this year, but Who knows? Maybe it's just a trial run for a new game.
Yeah, I mean, the servers, any MMO is going to need modern servers to run on. So
yeah,
whatever they're going to create for new servers is going to work for whatever MMO they're going to use. Interesting.
Maybe they're looking at, trying new mechanics in the game. Like if you got the siege mechanics in Citadel, maybe that's going in for the new ESO, the new ES6 in the long run, like those sort of mechanics, because there's always been a war aspect to the Elder Scrolls. Just another weird thought that popped into my head.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been racking my brain. I don't have any like crazy bonkers predictions. Usually I've got something, but I don't have any like really crazy bonkers ones. I think we're gonna get a main story something. I think that so here's my theory about why we have a delay. My theory about the delay is that with Starfield coming out, that all hands are on deck for polishing Starfield, that they were hoping to get it out this last year. It got delayed because of COVID. And so Todd is all about getting his 11/11 date, and that they learned not to release anything, like 76, where it wasn't 100% ready. So they decided, okay, Microsoft came and bought them. Microsoft also was like, okay, let's make sure it's 100% ready to get out there. We want to put out a game that's going to blow everyone away. So let's give it another year of polish, get it out there. So they've got the polish team finishing up Starfield, but otherwise it is 100% like working, ready to go. They're ironing out the bugs and just adding on a layer of polish, ramping up the marketing for it. Marketing's going to hit like E3 over the summer. That game's going to come out. What I think that they've been doing behind the scenes is all hands on deck for Elder Scrolls 6. And so COVID plus pulling anybody who they think would contribute really, really positively to an Elder Scrolls 6 project. They've pulled from any of the other teams behind the scenes, and they've been moving people around. I think that's why we have a delay right now, both for some of the content for Fallout 76 and for ESO. So this is my headcanon. I don't know this for sure, but that's why we're seeing some delays for both games and announcements. So some of those people have been moved over. They're now spinning up stuff for, TES6, because they are designing. So they're writing the story stuff, they're designing quests, all of those kinds of people are now over there. And so they're getting that stuff done for this year of content for ESO is a little bit slower, because they've had to kind of move people around and get new people kind of started up on some things over the last year. That's my theory. Now, what that means for where we're going this next year, I don't know. But if they've been planning ahead, then that means that they probably are doing more with content that already exists and less with content that is new. So that's why I'm thinking things like revamping a zone, because it takes less new content and more of just revamping content that already exists, because it's a little bit easier to repurpose something than it is to make something brand new. But that's just, me thinking like project management style stuff. But I don't know. That's my theory for why stuff's going where it's going. But otherwise, I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes. I don't have any actual.
It's very optimistic. I don't think they're going to start working on Elder Scrolls 6 for another 3 or 4 years, to be honest. But they are. I hope they are. They are. Like that. I do know. I do know that they like. Well, Rich said they aren't even going to bother with it until Starfield's completely done, right?
No. They are. They are people currently working on. They've mentioned this already. They are.
Oh, I thought they said all hands on deck for Starfield. They're not even going to touch Elder Scrolls 6 until Starfield's done, and then
Starfield is done. Like it's done.
They're just getting the finishing touches on it,
right? Like
so that
Starfield.
Okay,
yeah, Starfield
can be released.
is 100% playable right now. Oh my God, the cat. So Starfield right now is 100% playable. They are just like ironing out the bugs, like working on all of the extra like polish stuff. That's where they're at for Starfield, as far as I understand, which means that they are thoroughly in pre-production for Elder Scrolls 6. They are going, like, they are sitting down and having meetings for, like, this is absolutely where the setting is going to be. This is what the story is going to be. They're probably already going through, like, first, second, third drafts of, like, what the main story is going to be like, what the side quests are going to be like, what the new engine is going to be able for them to be capable of doing, what the vision is going to be, who the characters are. Like, that stuff is probably already, like, heads down. They're working on it. They probably even have art teams doing sketches for, like, images and the kinds of stuff that they're going to be fleshing out for design stuff. Like, that's probably their phase they're already in right now.
So, well, I'm happy to be wrong right now. That's great news.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's I'm, I don't know, 80% correct on that, at least. So, hey, good news. And since they don't have to update the engine so much, because most of the engine updates were made for Starfield, that's why Starfield took so long. Then basically they're taking an engine which has already been revamped for Starfield, and now they just have to design a game in it. So maybe we're looking at 4-year development for Elder Scrolls 6 and not like a 7-year development. So that's the hope, at least. So who knows? We'll find out. But we've got lots of other stuff to play in Elder Scrolls Online still, and we're gonna have lots of stuff to do in Starfield. So I'll be keeping you guys updated with that stuff on these shows, and then of course on the Robots Radio YouTube. So stay tuned for all of that.
We have Skyrim version 3000.
Yeah, Skyrim version 3000 to play. Yes, of course. And then the Starfield Lorecast, we'll be talking about the stuff as it comes out on there. And I've been trying to get my dad to play Skyrim, but he doesn't want to play video games, but I still think that would be cool. But yep, that's what we got going on. Any other last thoughts on any of this stuff, guys?
Actually, one thing.
Yeah.
I want to see Abner Tharn again. That's it.
He's got to come back, right?
He has to. He
disappeared off screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to come back. Absolutely. All right, guys.
I'm fine if he doesn't.
No, he's our favorite douchebag. He's got to come back.
I love him.
I love in the main quest line, everyone was like, I'll do it. He's like, I'm glad you guys are willing to volunteer. And he just takes a step back.
Oh, he's so good. He's such a good douchebag.
For my own heart.
Yeah. Play through some of the other main story stuff, and you'll come to love him some more. He's just the best douchebag. But thank you guys for joining me. Don't go anywhere, because are you guys joining me for our Naked Quest stuff? Who's
I definitely
around?
will be.
Absolutely.
I think Villains will be, right?
Villain?
Awesome. All right. We got at least 2 of you. All right. And then anyone else who's currently watching, you're welcome to join us on PC. We're going to be running around doing some Naked Quests in ESO on PC. So stay tuned for that. Also, let's go back through, and if you feel like you have something you want to share, any things you want to call out, any cool stuff you're doing, or ways that people can reach out, then feel free to share it. T-Rex, got anything going on?
I never have anything going on. I play ESO sometimes. I have a lot of games that I'm playing right now. I'm playing ESO. I'm waiting for Sweater's new
Sweater.
Yes, Sweater. They delayed the new expansion to February, so I'm waiting for that. Elder Scrolls 6 needs to have come out yesterday. Eclipse needs to come out yesterday. Ubisoft's open world Star Wars game needs to come out yesterday. I'm just waiting for all of the things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Otherwise, you're on the Discord, right? So you can reach out
I'm
on there.
in Discord.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Rob, you got anything going on?
Okay, there we go. I was unmuted. Sorry. I was like, hold on, where is it? Yes. You can find me in the Discord first and foremost. Rob the Princess. Username's Rob the Princess. Pretty much anywhere I can make it. I am the princess, and you can find me in Discord. You can find me on ESO. I play quite often, and I am always down to meet new people, get people to guide me along the way. I've learned quite a lot about the game, but I'm always wanting to learn more and wanting to experience more of the game. So please come along and play with me. And that's, doing anything I can related. Sky Bolivian, that's my shout out. Please check out the Sky Bolivian site. We have our own Discord server as well. We're giving updates for Sky Bolivian. Please, if you feel like you are any bit inclined, please come join and volunteer. They are, if you don't have any experience, they're at least willing to teach you some of the basic stuff. That's what I did. I got taught like within 2 days of how to start working on the game. So just want to give that as a shout out. Please join the Sky Bolivian team so we can get that game out for everyone to use. But otherwise, yeah, come play with me on ESO while I don't do my job.
Awesome. Nice stuff. I'm glad you're contributing to that because hopefully that'll get out at some point. So, okay, Villain. You got anything to share?
I'm on, you can catch me on the Discord or anything. I'm the Villain Behind Glasses on pretty much most social. Otherwise, I do stream on YouTube with ESO on the EU server. There's just someone riding a horse through Skyrim endlessly. Or riding a horse through any sort of Tamrielic scene. It's just plain RP build through and through. So if anyone wants to join, feel free.
Awesome. Thanks for joining again. And then we've got Brad Bribwan
on the Discord, and I usually do at least daily crafting and a daily battleground. So I'm on 1 hour about every day. And I'm always happy to help run. If you catch me, I'm happy to help run people through dungeons, craft anything. I'm good amount of gold, so I can buy stuff if you want. Just try and help make the game fun for you. But other than that, that's about the only place you can find me because I don't really have social media. But happy to try and be friendly in ESO.
Awesome stuff. Well, guys, thank you for joining me again. This has been so fun, and thank you for tuning in live stream. Thanks for being here, everybody. Don't go anywhere because we're going to be running around as a bunch of crazy naked people in Elder Scrolls Online, so stay tuned for that. And if you're listening at home, thanks for being here as well. Until next time, stay safe in Tamriel, and I guess until next time, I don't know. Who knows what next year's going to bring, but hopefully we'll find out something soon. But man, we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming this next year for Elder Scrolls Online. For Elder Scrolls Lorecast, year 4. Holy crap, guys. Year 4 coming up. This is going to be amazing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the show. I really do appreciate it, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Hopefully Lotus will be back. And all right. See you later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. If you have something you'd like to contribute to the show, please reach out to us at elderscrollslorecast@gmail.com or on Twitter @ESO Lorecast. I really appreciate you listening, and I'd love to hear from you soon.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.